Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. I did my hair.
Yeah, it looks good, man. Nice to meet you, Jay Sweet.
Truly a pleasure to meet you as well, sir.
Excellent, cool. So, this is for a podcast called The Jazz Real Book, and also for an article in Jersey Jazz Magazine.
Okay,
Okay,
good.
cool. And specifically, I know the part of the purpose is to promote that you're coming to New Jersey, which I'm sure you've been many, many times,
Hmm.
uh, at the Union County Performing Arts Center and Valentine's Day.
Correct.
Yeah, so could you talk about sort of your current tour and what people can come to expect when they come to this show?
Well, the current tour is the ongoing tour, which has been going on for the last 38 years, 37 years. It it
Okay.
it don't stop. It's to pay the mortgage. I still love music, and this ain't work tour. So yeah, looking forward to coming and doing the show. I am 29 albums in as a recording artist. So when you come see my show, you get the best of what I've done for the last 29 albums, 30 plus years. All the big singles that radio has embraced, and the audience and the public at large has embraced. So that's kind of what you get when you come to my show. Obviously, not all of them, but the bigger hits you have in one night in one show.
Excellent, cool. And how big of a band are you out with?
When I carry, it's normally nine people. I carry a sound man, a
Mhm.
road manager, and what, six musicians, and all kind of folks out there with someone to do my hair. You know.
So, has like I mean, you've been touring as you've mentioned for a long time. You still get excited to go out and meet and do the shows and meet the people?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, obviously, as you get older, the wear and tear on your body from the road is certainly evident and it's real. But for the most part, when you get on stage, a lot of those aches and pains and whatever you're going through seem to go away when you get on stage, you start doing the music and the audience seems to embrace what you're doing. All those things kind of fall by the wayside.
Definitely, yeah. Awesome. Cool. So like if we could talk also about the most recent EP, that was 2025, Still in Love.
Hmm.
Yeah, talk about that project if you would, how it came about and how you chose the tunes for it.
Well, it's interesting. It's interesting and it's not. I mean, I've been doing the same thing for the last 30 plus years, as I said before.
Uh-huh.
Every year and a half, I release a project. And I've kind of gotten away from doing the LP, meaning, seven or eight plus songs,
Yeah.
and kind of more in the EP because of the demand of the public. The public at large these days seems to have a very high demand for new music constantly. So instead of getting my feelings hurt seven or eight times, I decided to cut it to five and do EPs as opposed to LPs. As far as the theme is concerned for the project, there really is no theme.
Right.
Um, there's a couple of songs in there that are very relationship driven, kind of leaning towards maintaining a relationship. So there's a song on the album which is entitled "Back to Us," which is the first single, and then
Mhm.
there's another song on the album called "Us Time," and it just coincidentally just sort of worked out that way, and people have sort of labeled it as being like a relationship rekindling type of
Mhm.
project, but that's not the case. But if that's the way people look at it, then God bless them. Then I'm a genius, I guess. Man.
Right. I mean, a lot of your projects, I would say most do tend to have songs about relationships and
Mhm.
about love. Um, is that some, I mean, obviously it's a conscious decision. Have you ever like wanted to veer into a different realm, perhaps?
Well, over the years, I mean, I've pretty much done songs and sung about everything,
Yeah.
but it always seems to come somewhere around love. Some reason it always comes as a loop back around, and it's about every aspect of love and relationship. So it's not all the feel good and I'll do this for you, and I'm gonna, by the time you get home and it's flowers, and sometimes it's the real, relationship issues and things that I've gone through in my personal life that I bring to life in a song. And you come to find that a lot of people are in the same boat. A lot of people are going through the same things. Like over the years, like I released a project called Moods many years ago. and I was going through a divorce. And
Mhm.
it was the project was based around, the falling apart of our relationship. So, and a
Sure.
lot of people could relate to it. And there's a song on there called Sorry I. And when I sing the song in concert, it's funny. You see the women's faces kind of giving me the side eye.
Yeah, yeah.
Guys kind of looking at me like, yeah, like you must have been looking through my window when I was going through what I was going through. So
Right.
it's, it talks my career in general speaks on the good and sometimes the not so good aspects of love and relationships.
Yeah, and it's such a big part of our lives, everyone's lives, and certainly everyone could relate.
Right.
Yeah. No, excellent. So maybe if we could talk a little bit about the upbringing. You grew up in Brooklyn, if I'm correct. Is that right?
You are correct, sir. Mhm.
Okay. But parents were not musicians?
No, no, no. Our parents were not musicians. I'm the youngest of four. None of my siblings have any musical anything. I've always thought that, there's a possibility I might have been adopted or something. So
Yeah.
when I tell you my parents and no one in my family have no musical ability, I ain't kidding. I
Yeah.
mean, like, I have one sister that's terrible. I mean, unbelievably. So I might have gotten her share of talent as
Uh-huh.
well. But no, music was not even uh, on the horizon in my household or for me. I mean, I never thought that I would be doing this for a living when I was growing up. I didn't know what I would be doing, but I
Right.
certainly wasn't this. So
Yeah.
just a series of events kind of stumbled me down this road, and it's been a great stumble.
Yeah. Maybe talk about some of those events. So like, was there a lot of music? And I guess it doesn't even sound perhaps like there was much music in the household or
Well, there was a lot of music playing,
right.
obviously. We're a musical house. We had to clean the house to music. We had to
Mhm.
everything to music. And me being the youngest of four, I had to listen to whatever my brother and my sisters brought in, obviously my parents.
Sure.
So it was a very diversified type of music being played in the household. When I was growing up and how I kind of got into this is I assume that's where you're going with your question.
Sure.
It's they used to have music programs and the arts in schools. Obviously, back in the day, it was
Sure.
it was a prerequisite that you play an instrument, whether when you were a child, play the recorder, or you had to sing in the school choir or whatever it was. And I was one of those kids. And there was a teacher that saw me one day and heard me singing with the choir,
Mhm.
and he would walk by, and he would kind of stand there in front of me, and he put his ear to kind of the way I was singing, or where I was singing, and kind of like he walk by and he come back, and he said, after class I want to talk to you. So I said, all right, cool, no problem. And I'm a kid. I'm like 12 years old, or 12 or 13 years old. And he says, I want you to join this program that the city has, that Brooklyn has, called the Brooklyn Borough-wide Chorus.
Mhm.
Would you be interested? It's on Saturdays. And immediately I was like, nah. Like Saturday.
Not
Hey,
giving up my Saturday.
yeah, it's my day to go out to the park and play.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
It's from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock, and it's at a school not far from this area. And, I said no. And by the time I got home, he had already called my parents, and my parents had already kind of like volunteered me. So I kind of had to do it, and I got into it, and I started liking it. So
Right.
that was my first kind of foray into, singing in a group atmosphere, and aside from being in school. And from there, the same guy wanted me to go to an arts high school in Brooklyn called Erasmus Hall.
Yeah.
And it was the equivalent to if you were growing up, you saw the show Fame, and it was a school.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so it
I
was
know it.
equivalent.
Yeah.
Exactly, like a music and art school.
Right,
And
right.
so I got into that school, and then I really kind of got into the arts even more because everyone there was there for a specific reason. Obviously, you had to learn your reading, writing, and arithmetic, but for the most part, you were there to kind of cultivate and learn your craft. So the
Mhm.
actors, dancers, singers, whatever, musicians. And from there, I decided like, okay, I'm done with this music thing. I'm gonna go into the service.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so I was going into the Marines, and by the time I got to the recruiter's office, um, me and my buddy, a buddy of mine named Ralph, we were going into the Buddy Buddy program. So it's the Buddy Buddy program. I don't know if it still exists, but was you and your partner go in together, for
Hmm.
20 years. So wherever one goes, the other one goes. So you do your 20 years together.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and me and my buddy Ralph, our thinking was by the time we're, 38 years old, we're gonna be set. We gonna have all this money and we're gonna have this, that, and the other. And I got to the recruiter's office and he looked down and he was like, "Yeah, you're 17. So we can't sign you up. So, if you get your parents' permission, we can kind of sign you up in advance." And I took the paperwork home, and my parents, they laughed uncontrollably, and they didn't sign. So from June till November, which is my birthday, I just kind of bopped around Brooklyn, just hanging out, waiting until I turned 18 so I could sign. And then I ran into the same teacher again, the same guy, a guy named Mr. Hassel. He just saw me running around the streets in Brooklyn. He says, "What are you doing?" I said, "Nothing. I'm waiting till November to like go into the service." He says, "Man, you're really talented. Have you thought about college?" I said, "No, not really. I'm not a college person." So he said, "Man, there's a school in Richmond, Virginia, I can get you into. I really want to see what you can do musically." And he says, "You're not doing anything, and you can go for a year, and just see. Let's see where this thing goes."
Right.
And I took the deal, and so I ended up going to school down in Richmond, Virginia, to study music there for a year, and I loved it. And then within that year, a lot of folks that I went to high school with were doing things in the industry. Like I'd turn the radio on and I'd hear some of my friends, their records, or I hear them singing, or they tell me, they write me letters. It's obviously long before the internet. They write letters saying, "I'm doing this, and I'm doing that, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing that." And it kind of prompted me to come back home and to kind of join in. And
Wow. Yeah. What a
yeah, so I
crazy.
came back to New York and I became basically a background vocalist.
Yeah, yeah. I want to get into that too. But what a crazy series of events. I mean, just to have the you really to go down to the recruitment office at 17
Mhm.
and imagine what your life would have been, how different it would have been coming out of the service. And
Yeah,
yeah,
well, yeah, I mean, it harkens to like an old saying that was a man plans and God laughs.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, you're right.
I had a plan, and God was like, "Nah, that ain't
Mhm.
you."
Yeah. And then the other thing is that what if you don't be, what if you're not friends with that guy after 10 years?
Right.
You're stuck with him for another 10.
Didn't really think about that.
Yeah. That's funny. All right, so you went to school for you said a year. What changed your opinion about school? What made you I guess essentially leave?
I guess being jealous of my friends who were doing things in the industry that
Yeah,
now I was really invested in. I'm kind of like I've done all this school and I've done all this learning,
right.
and you guys are out there doing it. "Oh yeah, I'm singing with so and so, and I'm singing with so." I was like, "I'm better than
Yeah,
you are.
I could do
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah, I can do that. I'm better than you are." So
Right, right.
I'm coming home. And so when I came home, I really jumped into it, uh, you know, for the most part, full time. And,
Mm.
and I transferred to Brooklyn College as well. So I came back and I was going to school and working on music at the same time.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, so was there a central figure in terms of like influences, vocal influences? Who were you listening to? Who did you maybe sort of try to pattern your voice style after?
Wow. I mean, that goes back to the stuff that my parents would play for me, like your Nat King Coles.
Mm.
My father was a big Arthur Prysock fan. Uh,
Mm.
yeah, so people like that, Isaac Hayes, and then I heard like Al Jarreau for the very first time, and I was just like completely blown away.
Yeah.
I heard your Luther Vandrosses of the world, but long before he was a solo artist, he was doing a bunch of 12-inch records, and I heard him
Mm.
with Group Change, and that was a huge, huge, huge influence on me. And so people like that sort of shaped me into who I am, and I borrowed a little bit from what they were doing and what I love from them. And then you got your own voice, and you kind of incorporate, what you do, and eventually, as an artist, you'll find that what people expect from you, what you do best, and that's how you become who you are.
Right, right. And you were gifted with this like very rich, I guess it's a baritone voice, I would
Yeah,
say.
baritone. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is great for people looking for background vocalists, which I'm sort of segueing to. So you move back to New York. So who were some of what was your first, I guess, essentially big gig as a background singer?
Jennifer Holliday.
Hmm.
I remember it vividly because I was working a day job and I was doing little things around town. I'd had like a 12-inch record out, but not under my name, under an assumed name.
Okay.
And someone heard me and they called me to sing background on a Jennifer Holiday record. And I was so nervous. And then so they called me initially and they made me audition on the phone.
Okay.
Because they heard me talking as you are, and they said, "Oh, you're a baritone. Like, can you hit this note? Can you hit an E?" And
Mm,
they're hitting on the telephone, hitting the keyboard, ding, ding, okay. I said, "Man, just give me a shot." I'm begging on the telephone, like, "Give me
right.
a shot." And they gave me a shot. I went down to the studio, and there were other singers there. Um, and other things that I'd heard about and known that I knew they were the best in New York. And so I'm coming in from my day job when they called the session. It was like after 5 o'clock, and I'm coming in. I got a white shirt and a tie on and a jacket.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm walking there, and the guy's looking at me like, "Oh, who's this cornball?" And so we all went to the room and we started learning the parts to the song, and I blended in well. And the other singers heard me and they were like, they might have had a session and said, "Oh yeah, call this guy. He's got a really
Mm,
nice voice." And it just sort of spiraled from there. It just went, it was
right.
yeah, it just sort of just got the ball rolling.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny how that you got to get that first one in, and then
Hmm.
people start to know. What are some of the records like maybe some people would be surprised to know or not know that you're on?
Well, some of them like even behind me. I think this is Billy Ocean. What was it? Get out of my car, get in
Oh yeah, big hit. Yeah.
yeah, I sang the backgrounds on that. Over here on the Mariah Carey, Billy Joel. Uh, I've done them all. Over there's Vanilla Ice, the OJs, Misha Paris, Najee. They're everywhere. So I've had the
Mm,
pleasure of doing a ton of these records. I mean, I was a background vocalist primarily from '82 to till I started my solo career in '88.
yeah.
So I've
Awesome.
done, yeah, the list is endless. Cool in the Gang, it's endless. It's endless.
What just out of curiosity, what Billy Joel track was that one?
Oh, it was the song "Get out of my car, get into my dreams." It was supposed
No,
to be a movie.
I'm sorry, Billy Joel. The
Oh,
Billy.
Billy Joel. Jesus, I can't remember the name of the song. I can't remember the name of the song, but yeah, got a gold platinum for it. I can't remember the name of the song.
That's a good problem to have. There's so many that uh, and I'm sure there's some probably great stories and memorable sessions in that time, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I mean, lots of fun. It's interesting because you get to see everyone at the beginning of their career. Uh, Someone like I don't know if you're hip to Lisa Fisher.
I know the name, yeah.
Yeah, Lisa Fisher ended up tying for a Grammy with Patti LaBelle one year, and it was funny. Like we came up together, and she primarily worked with Luther Vandross over the years as well. But it's interesting. All of us are kids, and we're all sitting in this booth together. We're singing, and we're just happy for a couple of $100 singing background vocals, and to see where people's careers have gone, and most of them kind of fallen by the wayside, but there's some feel good stories out there. And we go, "Hey, and you remember we used to,
Yeah,
we'd be singing in all these little crappy clubs around, the city or Jersey or whatever. And just to see where everyone is coming, where they are. And it's a great thing. Makes for great memories.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and the interesting thing is in doing sessions, which I've had some experience with, is like you forget that you do these sessions and then you might hear something like a year later and be like, oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I did
Oh,
that.
yeah. 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 I mean, it is. I mean, and plus all these years later, I still turn the radio on and I hear songs and, my wife sings as well. And we'll hear records and we'll say, "Oh, remember we sang on that?" And yeah, I did this. Yeah, you did that. Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's very interesting to see these records that have become iconic, still being played and you're still relevant in some sort of a way. And it just makes you appreciative of being able to survive in this business and have these amazing memories.
Hmm. And how much sense did you have of like because it's very hard to gauge. Like when you're on a session, was there any sessions where you're like, I know that one's going to be a hit, or
Um, Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, I mean, well, the hell, all the records I've done, I've always thought they were going to be smashes, my personal records, but it ain't
Mhm.
always the case. But
Yeah,
there's certain records you just do and you're sitting there and you kind of like rolling your eyes, like, all right, that's what you want me to sing? All right, I'll do it. And then
yeah,
kind of go, that record's not going to be a hit. Next thing you know, it's like, oh, it's huge. And then there's certain records that you thought were like, oh man, this is going to be killer. People are going to be singing along and they're going to, it's like, man, nothing ever happened. So,
yeah.
you never know. Things happen organically in this business, and
Mhm.
it's just the way it is.
Yeah. And then of course, so then how did you kind of make that shift from singing on other people's records to then having the opportunity to have your own?
Very strange story. I done probably about 6 or 7 singles under these assumed names. We put out a 12-inch record, every 2 or 3 months, and they were club records, and they do okay in the tri-state area or whatever. And then
Right.
they die out, and then we make up another name. We call ourselves something else. You put out another record, and this one guy in the UK heard me do this record. It was an answer record to a Gwen Guthrie song. Gwen Guthrie had Ain't Nothing Going On But the Rent. That was a big record.
Mhm.
And they hired me to do this answer song called Ain't Gonna Pay You One Red Cent.
Okay.
So I'm thinking like, all right, the dude gave me some extra dollars to do the song. So I'm just happy for the money. And
Yeah.
someone heard the record and was just like, I don't like the song, but I like this guy's voice. Would you be interested in doing a solo record? Love to hear where you would go. And
Mhm.
that's how it happened. It was as dumb as that.
Right. Yeah.
And the record, it was self-titled back in '88, and it did absolutely nothing here in America. I think if we sold 50,000 copies, that would be a miracle. But
Mhm.
it ended up being a huge success in Europe and in the UK. Ended up going platinum overseas.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, and I found myself going overseas quite a bit to represent this record and to make a living. So yeah, it was the most unlikely thing that I thought was going to happen in my career. I'm thinking I'm going to have these problems domestically. I'm not going to be able to walk down the street and these girls are going to, I'm going to make all this money. And then
Right.
nothing happened here. And I go overseas and
Mhm.
it happened over there.
Yeah, it's so wild. I used to play with a musician, Ted Curson was his name, a jazz trumpeter. And he was like, playing clubs in Jersey and New
Mhm.
York and but it worked with major guys, Blue Note
Mhm.
Records. But in Europe, he was the got milk guy, like he had
Mhm.
big he showed me billboards and he's like different world over there.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, it's you get and I tell people this all the time. You get the critical acclaim if you go over into Europe and to
Mhm.
the UK or wherever it is. You get critical acclaim, but there's not a lot of money there.
Mhm.
You come
Okay.
here, there's more money here, but there's more competition. There's more fish in the sea, and it's hard to get noticed.
Right.
So it depends on, or as this kid say, 6'7", 6'7", it depends on what you're looking for. If you want critical acclaim, you want something to stroke your ego, go overseas. And, they know all the intimate details of the things that you record and they can recite the names and the this and the that. And, you'll get that. But you won't come home with a whole lot of dough.
Right, right.
And here, there's plenty of dough, but like trying to get noticed, you're like, look at me, look, please listen, please, please, you're begging. And so then most times it just doesn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's why. I mean, obviously you've been quite successful here too, but yeah, I can understand what you're coming from. And then, so like that first record, is that the one with Love Supreme on it, or is that a single? That was
Yeah,
a
that's what Love Supreme. Me and Stanley Turrentine, and yeah,
right.
so it was an interesting record because they kind of let me do what I wanted to do. Obviously, if you look at the clientele on the record and the way the record was made, and we're incorporating, house music and this 120 beat, four on the floor type of thing, and we're
Mhm.
doing Coltrane.
Yeah,
you know, and so it's like people looking like, the hell is this? So for the time, it was very unique, and
right.
and people overseas appreciated it, you know. Maybe
Yeah.
not much here, but overseas it certainly was appreciated.
Mm. Yeah, that's interesting. So the premise of the podcast I do is I take a jazz standard and I break it down and I play it. And then of course I have the interview element. Can you
Uh,
talk about because discussing a Love Supreme and obviously John Coltrane, monumental figure. Talk about your connection with like jazz standards and that music.
I hate jazz standards. You know why I hate jazz standards? Because I love them so much.
Uh,
So, I kind of do something in the traditional vein. Uh,
right.
I'm not gonna say every album, but maybe every other album. And I've done albums with like Gerald Albright where we've tried to reimagine the Coltrane Hartman with Lush Life and that sort of thing. So we've done like a reenactment of that. And most times it kind of goes over people's heads, for the audience that's followed me throughout my career.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, AKA the you, I run into someone, yeah, it's like who appreciates, like a version of Lush Life that I've done, or,
Yeah.
wee small hours of the morning or something like that. I love, love, love doing
Mhm.
those sort of things. But it pretty much goes unappreciative. And um, yeah, I mean, it's hard to make a living doing it. But
Yes.
I love it. I love it to the core of my heart. I love it.
Mm. Well, yeah, I appreciate it.
But,
And
but you're the one. Yes. Thank you.
yeah, well, yeah, no, it is hard, and there's an element of music where you have to do things that sometimes are more lucrative and maybe not so much exactly what you want to do, and but we're fortunate enough to still have those opportunities to play some of those things as well.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Every once in a while, the phone will ring, and I'll get a call from Christian McBride or something like that, and he'll want to do something, or it's a host of artists that know I have the ability to do it, and occasionally
Mhm.
do something. But for
Right.
the most part, my bread and butter and how we keep the lights on around here and how we eat is based on kind of more the R&B stuff that I do.
Yeah, yeah, man. I mean, Christian, I'm a bass upright player. So,
All right.
Christian McBride, I mean, there's not anyone he doesn't work with. I think that guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's definitely the guy. That's my laughing buddy. We probably laugh more than do music. We get together and it's like nonstop. Just
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I mean, his career is very reminiscent. I wrote a biography on Ray Brown, bass
mm,
player Ray Brown.
hmm
Of
Yeah.
course, Christian's very much in tune with Ray's
Uh,
career and Ray's, legacy. Sort of a modern day version,
yeah.
just on every always fits perfectly and on every
Oh, yeah.
record. It's just so great.
Well, I mean, and then plus to be as diversified as he is,
Yeah.
he can play upright as well as play electric.
Right.
So, and him and his wife, they have the Jazz House Kids thing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, man, he's obviously an unbelievable musician, a great person as well. So, and he keeps the genre alive, with the Jazz House Kids things and,
Yeah.
and teaching these kids how to play and how to appreciate music and how to appreciate jazz. So,
Absolutely. Yeah. I've had several students who've gone through that program and
oh, good.
it's really
Mhm.
benefited them. Yeah. So after the first record, that was on a smaller label, I believe, right? Like,
Well, it was on Island, which
oh, it
is
was on Island.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's not really small, but pretty much not known for R&B. I mean, Island was known for and taking of the name. Kind of Bob Marley was probably the
Marley U2, I think, was Island for
who
a while.
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
Okay. I have it as B-Way Records or so, Fourth and B-Way Records, but I don't know
he's
what.
on Fourth and Broadway,
Oh,
which is a derivative of Island, subsidiary, but under
oh,
the umbrella of Island Records. Yeah.
oh, okay. So that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
And then so you're with Island for a while and your second release and things are going. I think what's the real big one was A Dream Fulfilled, right? Was a
Right. That was album number three. Yeah.
right. And that was a big commercial success for you.
Was a huge, huge, huge success. Well, it was, and once again, it's a funny scenario because the record was huge here, Let me not use the word huge. Huge is Michael Jackson beat it. It was.
Yeah.
Let me back that down a little bit. It was a big record here in the States, and it didn't do as commercially well overseas. So I found myself working less overseas, and now I'm back home and I'm working domestically a lot more. So
Right, right.
I'm like starting all over again. It's like, who's this new guy? It's like, new guy, it's my third record. So, but that's the way it works.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and then like then there's a shift at some point, right? Go to Mercury for some time.
Yeah, basically to sum up, wherever you're going, I was in the same program for 24 years. I just went from label to label, all
Right.
under the same umbrella.
Okay.
So yeah, so Island, Mercury, Motown, uh, all these labels are under the same umbrella. So basically, when one person was like, I don't know what to do with them, are you
Mm.
interested in taking them? And they moved me over there. But I stayed in the same system from the beginning of my career until I decided to leave the majors. I can't count how many years ago, but yeah, so I did the majority of my records under the same umbrella. So now it's universal. So it's all
Oh, I see.
the same umbrella.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I mean, you essentially had no say really as to where they were releasing these records. They just said, "Hey, now all of a sudden you're on Motown," and
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was either that or be let go. I mean,
right.
when I went to Motown, I was very fortunate because the guy who had become president, I went to high school with,
Oh, okay. Who's that?
Kedar Massenburg.
Hmm.
So they were going to let all of the kind of R&B artists go. So like me, Brian McKnight, I think Vanessa Williams. It was a bunch of Tony. We were all on Mercury, and they would decided, like, hey, we're letting everybody go, and we're going to start fresh. And this new president came in, and it was my buddy, and he's like, yeah, you can let whoever you want go, but we're gonna keep this guy right here. And they're like, well, he really doesn't sell. Like, no, no, we're keeping this guy. And
I know
hey,
that.
it was, yeah, I mean, it was friendships go deep, and he helped me, he saved me. He helped, and ended up that was the only record that I've ever done where I got like a Grammy nomination. So, and once you do that, then you're like, oh, yes, we've always loved Will. So we started making more records and so it's been great, man. Like I said, God, man plans and God laughs, man. It's like I had no idea, uh, that he was going to be in that position. I never thought about it, never, struck
Right.
anything. So,
Yeah, that's pretty remarkable. And it must be pretty cool just like to physically see the Motown on a record that your name is on too, I would imagine.
well, yeah, yeah. I mean, the legacy obviously is is legendary. You can't go a day without hearing a Motown record or hearing a Motown artist.
Right.
And the mere fact that Berry Gordy is still with us at 90 something years old and still in his right mind, and the records that he's done, obviously Stevie and Michael and Marvin and the Supremes and Diana Ross and yeah, we'll never see anything like that again.
Yeah. Was he involved in any way
So
no, just by name. Yeah.
yeah, probably my name is on a check that he probably got.
Yeah.
Like 50 Cent, Will Downing. Oh, thank you. I don't know who he is, but it's mine.
All right. So you as you go through all this and then you actually released a novel as well, right?
I released a record,
Audio.
yeah, an audio novel, yeah. It's called Lust, Love, and Lies.
Yeah. Explain like the concept of an audio novel, if you could.
Imagine watching a soap opera,
Right.
and you can watch a soap opera for 20 years and be caught up. It's normally the beginning of a relationship until wherever the relationship goes. So that's what it was. It was like, all right, you meet this young lady, you meet in the club, and you hit it off, and things go well, and until they're not, and it's the roller coaster that goes along with a relationship. So it takes you from the beginning of a relationship to wherever happens at the end. They break apart, they whatever. So it's almost like watching like soap operas.
Okay.
Did it from an audio standpoint.
Right, right. And this
I'm
was
not Victor Newman, I guess, for those who.
no, I get that. So, and of course, like throughout, as we age, as many of us do, we have some physical struggles, some personal struggles. Could you talk about sort of like how you're able to care for your voice? What do you do now that you might not have done maybe years prior?
I don't know if there's anything that I've done. Probably the advent of technology helped me a lot. Before there were in-ears, trying to sing above a band was a beast. So you find yourself pushing more. But with the advent of technology, these days you don't have to sing any louder than you talk. So that was probably the thing that kind of seeped into my head uh, initially, more so than a lot of artists that I know and work with. They're belters. I've never been that. So the
Mm,
advent of technology has sort of, helped me quite a bit. Uh, and I always try to sing. I always try to tell people who kind of do what I do, and they ask like, "What's your advice?" You have to sing to people and not at them.
mm, right.
Sometimes I imagine, holding a woman in my arms and I'm singing in her ear. Sometimes it's that intimate. So if you think like that, it kind of preserves your instrument more and also creates a mood when you're singing and a picture, and it helps. I sing to women, I sing ballads, I sing, mid-tempo love songs. So there's no need for me to scream and holler at you, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So if you were doing more of a Teddy Pendergrass kind of thing, and
Yeah, I ain't yelling, turn them off.
yeah, right. No, but I mean, it is quite remarkable though, like as the years have progressed and technology has changed, and even we talked about record labels, and I think you made a mention that, no longer doing the thing with the major labels anymore because there's been such a big shift in the way records are released. And how does it must be interesting to have navigated that throughout your career.
I never thought I would see the industry and the business at large the way it is now. I mean, never in
Right.
a million years. I mean, I started when it was cassettes. I was at the beginning of the of CDs. When CDs were in the big box, had the
Mhm.
you know
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, the big rectangular box. Yeah. I forgot
yeah,
about that. Yeah.
yeah, where you
Yeah.
rip the top off and then there was CD at the bottom and
Yeah.
you
Why
kept
did
the
they do
box and
that?
yeah. So I mean, you know, to be at the precipice of that, it's like wow, that is incredible, and to see where we are, where unfortunately, people, don't find a need or desire to buy. Everything is kind of at your fingertips. If you subscribe to a service like Apple Music or Amazon, whatever it is, a service that a monthly fee that you may pay, and you
Yeah.
have access to everything. It's just sort of, I just never saw this. To see where it was and to be upset back then, it felt like you were being feel as if you were being taken back then. Like, you guys are making all this money and you only paying me this and this is my
Right.
royalty on this. To like now, like I'll take that. I'll take that above, the 0.06 that you get from Spotify or
Right.
whatever it might be. It's like, okay, how do you make a living? I really feel bad for a lot of the younger artists that are just coming out that they'll never know the joys of a royalty. You know what I mean? Or what it was like to be an artist to receive something from a major label for the work that you've done, as opposed to, you know, you putting out these records and you're just getting likes. If you don't get, X amount of millions of streams, you're not going to make a dollar. Or you
Yeah.
access to being able to do a live show because you haven't had the ability to release a series of hits that people want to see. Like they're literally hundreds of thousands of one-hit wonders,
Right.
or just folks that not even hits, just one release wonders. Like I
Yeah.
put up,
Right.
yeah, I put a record out, and then Lil Wayne put out a record similar to mine, and his record overshadowed mine, and people never heard of it. Like there's a million of you guys, like guys and girls, just like this. We
Right.
opened up the floodgates, and it was you know very very opening and very eye opening for the industry. Like I know you want to make it fair for everyone, but everyone is not really made for this business. And you've kind of watered down like people who have a serious amount of ability. You sort of taking them out of the equation.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And that kind of trajectory, like what you went through, which being a sideman or a backup singer, and then eventually, shifting into a lead role, it's kind of changed a little bit, or having to build an audience live, perhaps. Um, and then on the flip side, I get to hear every one of your records. They're all on my phone, which
right.
from a research standpoint is phenomenal, and I get to enjoy them. But yeah, I think also the practicality of like even you doing an EP, it really makes a lot more sense because just the cost of recording and
Right.
and the return. But yet you still kind of have to and probably want to do it.
Well, you definitely, for those who are real artists and have something to say and have to get this artistic whatever it is out of your system. Yeah. The cost of making records has gone down, unbelievably. Obviously, back in the day, it would cost you, you know, minimally $10,000,
Right.
and up, So for me, the estimate for making a record, a song would have been somewhere between the 10 and the $15,000 range, because of the cost of studios, obviously having to pay a mix engineer, an exorbitant fee, for their abilities, the musicians, back in the day it used to be the union cost and this, that, and the other. So if for those who are watching and listening, 15,000 may sound like a lot of money, but it's really not. Like that's on the low end, or the 10 or 15,000 on the low end of making a song back in the day. Now, I mean, you can make a record for $2,000. I mean, and to make it halfway right, you can do it for 2 grand. I got a studio right here in my house. I cut all my vocals here at the crib. A cut bass or guitar and background vocals. And if I need live drums, obviously that's another story. But
Mm.
I know other drummers, and they have their setup. That's all they do is cut live drums at home, and they cut well. And we sort
Yeah.
of Frankenstein these records together. So it's a new way. I'm not necessarily loving it, but you know, it's like pushing a boulder up the hill. Like I can't, I'm fighting against the machine. Machine is winning. So
Yeah.
if you can't beat it, you got to join.
You do. I wasn't aware. Do you play instruments as well?
I was the worst, the absolute worst upright player that you've ever heard.
Ah. Okay.
I studied in college. I was terrible,
Yeah.
terrible. Did I say terrible? Terrible. Charles Barkley. I'm terrible. That terrible.
There's still time, man. There's still time.
No. I probably hear folks like you and a Christian and
Yeah.
no, no, I'm good.
That's
I'll sing the bass parts and then you play
you should hear me sing. So it's it's kind of
them.
wow, cool, man. So one thing I wanted to ask you too about is your work with the American Stroke Association. Can you talk about how you came to become sort of I guess like an ambassador in a sense, right?
I don't know about an ambassador, but I was certainly, a voice that had uh, some way of bringing a little bit of a star power to the association. So they were doing a campaign years ago where they were trying to raise awareness, stroke awareness, and heart health, especially in the African American community. So they were reaching out to artists to become a part of this campaign. It meant more to me because my grandmother had a massive stroke when I was a child.
Mhm.
So as soon as they called and said, "Hey, we're looking for people to kind of just read the script," I really took it to heart more so than potentially some other folks, and I just kept kind of going with it. I sort of expanded with it. I said, "Well, I used to be a bowler, a big time bowler.
Oh,
I
wow.
enjoy it. So I'm not pro level, but just really enjoy the game." And we decided to put something together called Strike Against Stroke, and so we would have these bowling events around the country and the American Heart Association would show up. They'd have pamphlets and screenings, and people could get screened and learn more. And at the same time, take 20 steps and throw a strike, and go bowling. So, that was my marriage with them.
Okay, cool. No more bowling anymore, or not.
Man, my knees, my mind says yes, my knees say no.
Okay. I remember when like in New England they have the candle pin or the
Oh yeah, yeah, stick
yeah
pin, yeah,
the
yeah.
little ball.
Uh,
That it's funny. And then also you host a radio program if I'm not mistaken.
I do. Well, I stopped it probably about 6 months ago, and I'm
Okay.
gonna go back to it. But I've been doing it since 2008. It's a weekly show called The Wind Down. And the reason that I started doing it is because in 2006, 2007, I got like ill. I had taken ill, like gotten really, really, really sick. And I didn't want the public at large to know that I was pretty much incapacitated. Uh,
Hmm.
so, in order to keep my voice alive and to keep my image alive in their eyes, I started doing this radio show. So they wouldn't see me, but they would hear me. And
Right.
I kind of morphed it into kind of giving an opportunity for artists that don't have a platform to get their records played on a bigger platform. I mean, at least introduce an audience to their music. And, so it became that sort of thing. And then we started adding different elements to it where we'd have a classic song and then a reimagined version of it. So we play one and play the other one. Just say, hey, it's an interpretation is what we call it. And people would pick and choose which one they like, but you didn't have to. But it was definitely what raised awareness to a classic version, to the original classic version and a new version, and
Right,
then
right.
to an artist as well, and that people may not be might have been aware of, and so we pay tribute to them as well. So I did that for close to 20 years. I mean, in 2008, I stopped in 2025.
Wow. So even with, I mean, you're pretty fortunate in the sense that even with health struggles, the voice remained strong.
There was a period when it didn't,
Okay.
but it didn't last long, and
Yeah.
God was great to me, and kind of brought me back.
Yeah. Did you ever do any voiceover work as well?
Oh yeah, oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Used to do a lot of it back in the day. A lot of jingles, yeah, and all that dried up.
Yeah, that's the other aspect. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to work in the city a lot. I mean, a company called Three Tree, and and just going in. They were quick. You go in and 30 minutes, 45 minutes later, you were walking out the door. Whether it be a Burger King commercial or a Toyota Avalon, I used to do all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's another aspect that has changed. I mean, studio session work was such
Ah,
I think vocalists got to keep it going a lot longer than maybe instrumentalists,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know. But, yeah, even still, now people, like you said, you could do it from your home.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
It's a new day. I mean, I just wish we were able to go back. But when I start bringing it up, people look at me like I'm the old guy in the room, so I keep my mouth shut.
And I mean, there seems to be somewhat of a concept that people want to. I mean, I know like people are buying LPs more and more.
You hearing
But
that?
I don't. But is it enough to reinvite? No. I mean, when you can
I
get
mean,
something for free or pay now LPs like 35, $40.
well, yeah. I mean, and at this point, I don't know if people are really listening to them more so than just hanging them up on a wall and saying
That's
final.
yeah. It's
So
kind of it's cool to say that you do that. I don't know if it's actually
yeah,
how much the listening is happening. You're right. So it's like owning a piece of art.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and like as you just said, just the price of vinyl is just like, are you kidding me? Like 35, 40, $50.
Yeah. No, I know.
But the cost of making it is
Everything. There's only like two or three places that do it now. Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, I actually have vinyl coming for this record, so
oh,
we'll
that's
see how it does. If you get one free in the mail, you'll know it didn't do well.
uh, well, I would actually listen to it, not hang it up.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Then I'd hang it up, mate. But it is a great record. I really enjoy it. I've been listening.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
And then also you have an interest. I don't know if you're still doing it, but photography. How did photography kind of enter your life?
It's kind of a funny story, and I'll make it brief. Um, I got introduced to photography. I mean, obviously, everyone takes pictures, and I really got into it probably in 92. I was doing an album cover with a photographer. I'm not going to say their name, but we had done projects together prior to that. So I was used to working with this person, and back then there were Polaroids. You know, they take a Polaroid and they show you the Polaroid. And they go, "This is where we're going. This album's gonna look something like this. So we're gonna shoot a series of shots like this." It's like, oh, okay. So they show me this Polaroid, and I don't know why on this particular day I decided to tell the truth about what I saw.
Yeah.
And I, I guess I might have been a little bit too honest, and they kind of turned me like they got upset, and they're like, "Don't damn album cover." And so, we ended up, doing the shot, but the vibe was just wrong. And
Yeah.
so they took it the wrong way. I certainly took it the wrong way. So the next week I went out and I bought like a cheap camera, a little Canon camera,
Mhm.
lens, and rolls and rolls and rolls and rolls of film. And I started shooting. And I got the stuff back. You used to send it to a lab, you get the stuff back, and I was terrible. To say the least, to say the least, I was terrible. And so I kind of had to humble myself and go back to them and like, hey, I apologize. I didn't mean no disrespect. Da, 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 da. I would love to take a couple of lessons with you. And they gave me a few lessons and
Mm.
kind of started me on my journey because I was working a lot. So I would always have my camera with me. And
Right.
being that I was kind of really at the beginning of my career, I was opening up for other artists. So I'd open up, I'd go get my camera, sit on the side of the stage, and then I'd shoot.
Mm.
And so I'd be opening up for the OJs, whoever it might be. It was a Patti
Right.
LaBelle or Gladys Knight. I mean, and they're right there to the point where they became friends, and they'd always see me with my camera. And I go to the
Mhm.
dressing room and I'm shooting. I sit on the side of the stage, I'm shooting. Now we're starting to become friends. Why don't you come on over to the house? Can I photograph you? Yeah, sure. I bring my camera. I started buying lights. And that started me down this journey. And I'm pretty good, I guess. I've released. I'm working on my second book right now.
Okay.
Art shows go across the country. There's an exhibit going on right now in Philadelphia at a gallery called Soft Illusions, and that'll be up until mid-February. So I'm working on the second book. I'm probably about 104 pages in. So
Mm.
yeah, so I shoot at least once a week, minimally once.
Oh, yeah. So I'm sure it's not with that same camera.
Oh no. oh no. No, but yeah, a lot more expand. I got lots more of them and tons of lenses sitting around there.
Oh yeah, no, people are into photography. I mean, it's a lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. I mean it's much like playing, you got guitars on your low end basses. It's like each one does something different and
Right.
and then obviously technology has moved on and you got to keep up with the times and buying mirrorless cameras as opposed to mirrored cameras and so it's nonstop. It's an expensive hobby.
Yeah, but similarly, like sort of like singing, I guess anyone could physically do it. Well, not most people. And shooting a picture, most people can do physically.
Mhm.
There's it's a lot more going on than
Oh
people.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I've been like I said, I've been doing it since 90, 92. So
Mhm.
over the years I've learned so much, and I enjoy it. Matter of fact, I'm shooting Peebo Bryson this weekend, and I'll shoot Glenn Jones next week, and so it's ongoing.
Oh, so you do some album covers as well for.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay.
tons of them. Yeah,
Oh, that's really awesome, man.
yeah,
Yeah,
and it's not for the financial aspect of it.
yeah.
There's a lot more people around here, that don't have a black eye because I take photographs.
Uh,
Yes.
uh, uh,
They're choking and stuff. Like, let's out of you. Where's my camera? The camera saved your life.
it's funny. And the other question I want to ask, because you mentioned like having opened for many artists, who I'm sure you listen to as a like maybe personal heroes, right?
Oh yeah.
And in me being able to do this, I get to meet a lot of my own personal musical heroes
Mhm.
and such. Um, Generally, and I think I kind of know the answer. When you meet these people, generally a positive experience.
For the most part, yeah, but there's been a couple of hemorrhoids over the
Yeah,
years. You know,
right,
man, like you, man, I wasn't expecting this from you. And
right.
yeah, I mean, there's some people that I've met that's just like, the old adage of never meet your heroes, because they'll disappoint you. And I've had quite a few of those. But for the most part, everyone's been cool. Uh,
Right.
it's been, it's one of those things where every person that I've met has been a learning experience.
Yeah.
Um, I've worked with artists where uh, you get there and you think it's going to be an amazing experience, and then they say, well, you can't use both amps in the theater. You only use one amp. I mean to that powers the system.
Yeah.
And then, it's like the people on the audience are going, can't hear you, can't hear you. And then when they come on, they turn the other amp on, and it's this huge
Right.
thing. You sound like a trio in a theater, a 3,000 seat venue, and you sound like a trio, and people can barely hear you. And then they come on and they sound like a giant. It sounds like, so I've had tricks like that played on me, and it's like, man, really?
Hmm.
Really? You
Yeah.
know,
Like you hired me to sound good. Why don't you want me to sound good? Like,
because there's a possibility that you might sound better than they do.
it's a very good possibility. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's sort of like I want people to remember me. I won't forget you. I didn't want you on the show. The promoter wanted you on the show. So, I'm going to sound like the star that I am, and I'm going to shine more.
Mhm.
But, I've had stuff like that. It's like, okay, you get this much stage. Like, man, I got five people. I got bass, drums, keys, guitar, background vocalist, a sax player. Like, you get this much stage. That's all you got. Make it work.
Mhm.
So, you get that occasionally. But for the most part, the experience has been amazing.
Yeah, cool. So looking forward, like I would imagine 2026, maybe another recording perhaps.
If the musical juices, and the musical gods shine upon me, I haven't had any ideas or concepts for anything as of yet. But something will happen, and we'll release something, whether it be a single or whether it be another EP. We'll see. But I'll have something out in the latter part of this year and close to the beginning of next.
Mm. Maybe a standards album.
You know what? Maybe. Because at this point, there is no such thing as fail. It's impossible to fail in this
Right.
business.
Yeah.
It's tougher to make it, but your failures, either people hear it or they don't. And there's so much going on in the world, they just forget about it. Like they don't harp on whether they like the record or not, or whether you had a record that sucked. Like, they hear it, either they like it or they don't, and you can release another one tomorrow.
Right.
There's,
Right.
there's so much going on. No one cares about you. No one cares about me. I mean, there's nothing personal.
No, no, you're right. No, I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
It's just there's so much out here. People don't have time to care. I mean,
Right. And
this,
when you're spending the 15 to $20,000 per song, there's a financial interest from the people who are helping to back that they want you to.
right, right. If you're doing it on your own, as long as you ain't going broke, you're being realistic about it.
Right.
Cut a damn song for $750. I mean, if you don't want it done well, but if you want to put something out, I just want to do something with voice and guitar. It's like, all right, I can
Mhm.
sit here all day and sing, and then go to, CD Baby or whatever, and do a bundle package for 29.99, and then set a date. And I want the date to be February 14th. You have a record out in 2 weeks, and if it hits, it hits, and if it don't, no one's gonna know. It's
I
not like,
know. It's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, it's not like, Walmart or any of the Best Buy, bought 50,000 copies of them and they're stacked up in their warehouse and they can't get rid of them. It's like where CDs used to be, there's a washing machine or a
Yeah,
dryer.
yeah, yeah. Or or you get them from Columbia House and never pay.
Right,
13
right,
CDs for $1 or whatever.
right, yeah.
That's all right. Hey, well, I think we did the thing. Anything else you want the listeners to know? Anything else you would like to discuss or promote?
Well, just come on out to the show for those who are interested in coming to the You Don't Have a Valentine's Idea of what you're going to do as of yet, come
Yeah.
on out to the Union County Arts Center, Performing Arts Center in Broadway, New Jersey on Valentine's Day and kind of hear the best of what I've done and what I do. I promise you, fellas, if you come out, you don't have to say anything. Just sit there with your lady or whoever it is and just act like you like the guy on the stage. They'll be happy. I'm
Eh,
I think I'm pretty good. I'm gonna make this the easiest night of everyone's life. Just come on out, come enjoy yourself.
perfectly said. All right, great, man. Nice to meet you.
Truly a pleasure, my man.